Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. The Royal Rumble is less than 2 weeks away and the WWE has already upped the ante with Brock Lesnar announcing he'll be entering at the #1 spot. What other surprises will WWE unleash on the 13 January edition of Raw? Join us now as Wrestlelamia analyzes Raw and looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including WWE facing strife about Saudi Arabia, controversial comments from Triple H towards Paige, a potential ROH AEW alliance, MJF leaves a promotion, a potential new member in the Dark Order, update on Brian Cage and AEW, and more. The good. Drew turning babyface? We've heard rumors about the Scottish psychopath possibly turning babyface, potentially even eliminating Brock Lesnar at the Rumble to set up a WrestleMania 36 showdown. The WWE put McIntyre in a more favorable light tonight, not only having him win the triple threat match, but having him interact with the fans by asking them whether they want to see a fight or listen to AJ and Randy talking. A face turn is just what McIntyre needs to go from the upper card to the main event. He showed considerable progress last year when he feuded with Roman Reigns, and 2020 could be the year he fulfills his tremendous potential. Be sure to check the news section for a possible reason why Drew's being pushed. Ongoing storylines. It's difficult to tell what goes on backstage at Raw and SmackDown, but it looks as if the Red Brand's creative team is starting to copy the Blue Brand's new strategy of building up storylines from week to week. This was seen with Charlotte's increasingly heelish behavior, as well as the ongoing storyline between AJ Styles and Randy Orton. What's most important is that Raw may be starting to tell storylines with its undercard stars such as Ricochet that don't just involve them counting the lights for their opponents. It's too early to say that this is happening, but let's hope things continue. The bad. WTF rules. Did you understand the rules from the main event? The WWE did a terrible job establishing what the match was all about right up until the match itself. If the WWE was trying to be clever and/or innovative, they failed. Murphy's mess. The Buddy Murphy vs. Aleister Black program had the potential to turn into a wild feud and help get Murphy over. After 2 matches and some good promos, the WWE decided to eliminate all doubt that Murphy isn't in the same league as Aleister Black, with Murphy losing yet another bout to the Dutch Destroyer. This made Murphy's involvement in the main event problematic, as Seth Rollins and the AOP needed a B-grade wrestler to help them defeat KO, Samoa Joe, and The Big Show. Wrestlelamia wanted to put Murphy into the Downright Ugly, but we'll wait and see what happens next week. The Downright Ugly. Tonight's Raw had no real OMG moments, but it was entertaining for the most part from start to finish, with some good matches including the triple threat between Drew, Randy, and AJ, the Murphy vs. Black bout, and the main event, even though the rules were somewhat confusing. Throw in R-Truth, who proved to be good for some laughs as usual, a match to get over Charlotte's mean streak, and the required post-contract signing beatdown, and you had a show that checked all the boxes to keep things interesting and move the show along. At the same time, there were 2 of the same segments that seemed to be stuck in an infinite loop, as the Viking Raiders squash opponents with no one coming close to challenging them, and of course, Rowan's mystery cage. Both storylines need to get moving. News. Saudi Arabia holdouts. The WWE's upcoming Saudi Arabia show has some superstars saying "No way, Jose," and we don't mean they're arranging a conga line to get on board the plane when it comes to making the hellacious trip to Saudi Arabia, and not only because of the issues superstars experienced when they tried to leave after 2019's Crown Jewel. According to Ringside News, now, with the heightened tensions in the Middle East, specifically the recent issues in Iran, there are more wrestlers questioning whether they should fly out for the next show. I was told at least 2 more wrestlers have decided against going to the next Saudi Arabia show. As Wrestlelamia has previously pontificated, there were a good number of wrestlers who griped about the post-Crown Jewel experience, but it's doubtful many will stand up for themselves. Vince McMahon's dad is said to have once opined, "Wrestlers are like seagulls. All they do is eat, and squawk all day." ROH and AEW teaming up? As noted in a previous news video, Ring of Honor star Marty Scurll chose to remain with ROH rather than signing with AEW. Nonetheless, Diamond Dave Meltzer is reporting that Scurll is working to form some sort of partnership between the two promotions. In the past, there was talk of AEW teaming with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but so far that hasn't happened. Scurll, who is also ROH's head booker, seems to be working on something, as noted during an episode of Wrestling Observer Radio where Dave Meltzer stated, he's friends with the Young Bucks and he wants to have a working relationship between AEW and Ring of Honor. That's his goal. He's going to attempt to do that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but those guys will certainly listen. I think that's a tough one because I don't know what ROH has for AEW, unlike New Japan, where you can see what AEW would get from the relationship. An AEW ROH partnership could make for some exciting matches considering the terrific technicians in each promotion. A possible reason for the Psychopaths push. Drew McIntyre has been enjoying a bit of a push since his return from injury, and according to Sportskedia's Tom Colohue, I am told that the driving force behind this renewed push is not Heyman, but a decision to push a British talent on the WWE's flagship program in order to heighten the new BT Sport deal. A strong showing in the Royal Rumble could result in a prime spot on the show of shows. You may recall BT Sport picked up the rights to WWE programming after Sky carried it for decades. MJF gone from promotion. Maxwell Jacob Friedman has left Major League Wrestling and is now working exclusively for AEW. MJF was working for MLW and AEW due to a loophole in his contract, but he's apparently all in with AEW. MJF tweeted, "While my time with MLW is over, I can assure you that the dynasty will live on forever. I had the best tan, by the way, it's just the camera angle." MJF has been a featured player on AEW, and it should prove interesting how much more he'll be involved in storylines now that he's an AEW exclusive. Triple H's sexist comments. WWE executive Triple H made a remarkably sexist comment about former WWE superstar Paige during a meeting with reporters. Triple H was discussing Edge and Paige's potential return at the Royal Rumble when Helmsley reportedly said, "He said that Edge has kids and Paige probably has some she doesn't know of." The incredibly insensitive comments led to Paige tweeting, "Even my boss jokes about me. No wonder you guys still do it too." Renee Young didn't seem happy with Triple H's so-called joke, and she tweeted, "Big love to Paige. She's been to hell and back, but still some people want to make jokes. We need, and she deserves, real change." It's difficult to imagine why Triple H made these comments. Some analysts have suggested they're a veiled shot at Paige's past sex tape. Then there's the possibility this is some sort of worked shoot to get Paige over. Either way, it's in incredibly poor taste, particularly coming from a major WWE executive and in light of the WWE's constant self-praise for its women's revolution. If Triple H wanted to deflect attention away from Tessa Blanchard's current controversy, he couldn't have done better. This is something the WWE will likely sweep under the rug while it continues patting itself on the back for its progressive behavior. If someone said this in a corporate environment other than the WWE, there'd be lots of bad press and even calls for the executive to resign. In the WWE, it'll likely make for some laughter between Vinnie Mac and Trips. 80s tag team star undergoing cancer treatment. Longtime fans will remember Bobby Fulton, one half of the tag team The Fantastics that lit up the ring during the 80s against opponents such as the Midnight Express and the Sheepherders throughout a number of promotions including Mid-South Wrestling and Jim Crockett Promotions. Fulton is now undergoing chemotherapy and radiation treatment to combat throat cancer. Wrestlelamia wishes Bobby Fulton a fast and full recovery. AEW teasing new member of the Dark Order? Despite a shaky start, AEW seems to be pushing the Dark Order as a faction to watch, with its leader, Evil Uno — sorry, but Wrestlelamia can't help thinking about 80s arcade game villain Evil Otto from Berserk wherever he shows up — recruiting more wrestlers and kayfabe recruiting members of the general public. With rumors that Matt Hardy could become involved in the faction should he join AEW, one wild tale floating around is that Hardy will be revealed as the group's leader, the group could get over big time. For now, AEW is dropping hints that Michael Nakazawa may be contemplating joining the cult group. Recently, Nakazawa was seen accessing the Dark Order's website on his phone. Brian Cage not signed to AEW? Rumors were flying that Brian Cage had signed with AEW, but Cage's wife Melissa Santos is denying this happened. Santos took to Twitter after Twitter user @SoCalUncensored reported Cage had signed a multi-year deal with AEW. Really? How can you confirm something that isn't true? I'm his wife and I can confirm he hasn't signed on any dotted line. Cage is a former Impact World Champion and was last seen at the promotion's Hard to Kill pay-per-view. You know, the one where Tessa Blanchard won the Impact World Championship. Is Santos working the fans just so Cage can make a surprise for AEW? Rusev teasing WWE exit? The WWE's Bulgarian Brute recently changed his Twitter handle to his real name Miro, as well as adding soon-to-be free agent to his profile. Considering Rusev's heavy involvement in the Lashley-Lana angle, it's doubtful he's going anywhere, but Wrestlelamia will keep you updated. Well guys, there you have it, the good, the bad, and the ugly from the 13 January edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. What did you think of this week's show? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.